you enjoy listening to the Luna Podcast? You can now find us on Patreon at the Luna Pod, where you can show your support for the podcast for only $1 a month. Or for a little bit more, you can get early access and bonus episodes, contribute to our podcast segments, and receive exclusive video content as we film our reactions, reviews, and discover new K-pop groups. Head over to Patreon now to join the community. We can't wait to chat with you.
To those who have caught Bomgyu's flaming rose from his mouth, congratulations.
I literally can't even imagine having a keepsake like that. The flaming rose from Bomgyu's mouth.
I don't know what I would do with that.
I don't either.
You
Somehow
could
immortalize it, frame it.
I wouldn't want to dry it out, maybe.
Epoxy?
Resin. Resin it.
Yeah.
Done. Hi, welcome to the Luna Pod, where we talk all things K-pop. I'm Brooke.
And I'm Raquel. Welcome to our second group chat. This one is going to be about TXT. Now, this is a very long episode that includes everything you might need to know if you're wanting to become a MOA. We've put a lot of time and research into these group chats, but with so much information out there, it is impossible to list everything. So we've gathered our findings, our personal opinions as best as we possibly could, and hope that you can learn something new. Please enjoy, and I hope you decide to become a MOA with us.
So to start out, we'll talk about us as MOAs. So with my ranking for the group, they're probably within my top 10 always.
I would agree.
As of right now, I have no reasoning for this. Number 7.
Period. Love that. Yeah, I have a really hard time putting them in a list because they're very much like a comfort group to me. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I forget they exist, but when you ask me to like rank my top favorite groups, which is hard to do anyway because there's so many out there, but like I don't necessarily include them because they're just like an automatic comfort group. Like they're kind of in their own ranking. So I don't really know how to say that. But honestly, I know we say top 10 and you might be like, what on earth? That's crazy. You've got to remember that we're mega multi-stans and we love so many groups. So top 10 is a big deal.
And for our biases for the group, mine is Yeonjun with Wrecker Subin, but honestly, Taehyun has been lurking so much.
That's a mood.
I'm scared.
Yep. I am actually OT5 for TXT. I first started out in TXT as a Bomgyu bias, but then it turned into OT5, especially after the concert. I just love each one of them so individually. And as my OT groups tend to go, each of them will kind of have spotlight moments. And I agree, Taehyun has also been lurking lately.
And then kind of the era we came in at, I came in during Can't You See Me era. And kind of what and who stood out to me during this era and like music video. The piano, stunning, beautiful music. And we had purple Subin. So his hair was purple at the time, and he had like a half plaid skirt, and he really stood out to me the most at the time. And I think he was my like top and like kind of my bias initially. And I really liked Hyunikai's visuals. Had the whole classic short and tall sock moment for him.
Love. That's so him. That's so Kai.
And then Yeonjun really stood out as well for his performance in visuals. That's when he had his like highlighter hair. R.I.P.
The one that like it would fall out every time he briefly pulled on it.
It was so bad. Yeah, there's this whole time where like his hair had been like dyed so many times and it was like so bleached and it was just like ripping out.
Poor R.I.P.
The hair was not healthy then. And I really was obsessed with the choreo during the line like Feel Me. It was just so pleasing to the eye, and overall like just complex choreo with the song. Another moment, which if you haven't seen the video, it makes no sense, but when Hyunikai's like twitching around and they're all lined up, love it. And I really liked the darker theme that was going on in the video, and it just kind of turned from like this fun playing around with each other like with food, but then like the squashed food would kind of like symbolize blood, so it definitely took a dark turn.
Dark. Yeah, it did. That was such a cool music video in general.
It really
with that
was.
Whole concept.
And like Yeonjun had his like bloody hands and like panning to the members, and they really just looked ghostly as like the house burnt down. And for me, I love that kind of thing. I love like a darker theme like that. And also just shout out to the studio choom, the fits, especially like Bomgyu's crop sweater over the plaid top and Subin's black pirate shirt with a corset. Love. So just shout out to that.
Their outfits are honestly so top tier in general.
I know.
Like, that may not be one of the first things you think about when you think about TXT, but their outfits.
I know.
So good. I joined, or what I consider my joining era to be was Loser Lover era, which during this era, we need to talk about the fact that they have some albums called the Chaos Chapter, Fight or Escape, and the Chaos Chapter, Freeze. This is kind of where we came up and were inspired by our idea for our Chaos chapters. So just wanted to give that a shout out. If that's not proof that we love TXT, I don't know what is. Also, during this whole era is when Anti-Romantic came out. This is a song that I heard and loved way before I even knew what K-pop was, and to this day, I absolutely love this song so much. Puma was also one of the first music videos I ever remember watching from them. And honestly, Puma is like, it's giving Shakira, She-Wolf, but like on K-pop steroids. So, also, I know we'll talk about this a little bit later, but Taehyun's rasp in this whole era, honestly, like with all of their songs, I forget that there's one title track for this whole Loser Lover era because I feel like they're all title tracks.
No.
But yeah, so amazing. We also have the Frost performance video, and that's just top tier, which we'll get into more in just a minute. But now that you've learned a little bit about us and our MOA history, let's start talking about TXT and the group as a whole and how they formed.
So they are a 5-member group from Big Hit Music. They are one of 2 groups under that management alongside BTS. And TXT stands for Tomorrow by Together, and the name refers to coming together under one dream in hope of building a better tomorrow.
That's so cute. It's giving such Epcot vibes. Building a better tomorrow.
Epcot Kings.
Epcot Kings. Come to Epcot.
And they debuted March 4th, 2019. And they're the first non-debut group to have an article written by them by Billboard, which is crazy.
Wait, so they had a Billboard article written before they debuted?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, again, it's Big Hit. They were
Right.
highly anticipated.
That's very true, but yeah, that's crazy.
And their fandom...
Alwaysness? Their fandom name... Okay. Their fandom name, as we have been saying this whole episode so far, is MOA, which stands for Moment of Alwaysness, which kind of makes me giggle, I'm not gonna lie.
Do you not know what ARMY stands for?
No. No! Adorable Representative MC for Youth? There ain't no way.
I became lightheaded again. So, listen, Moment of Alwaysness, not that bad.
TXT ended up gaining 500,000 followers on Twitter in 12 hours. I'm just gonna let that sit for a second. They're probably one of the most anticipated debuts of all time.
Honestly, yeah.
Kind of along with their fandom name, we also have their light stick, which is called the MOA Bong. I am really hoping that we get a redesign of MOA Bong soon.
Me too. I love a globe, so I'm really hoping
Me
we
too.
get a globe next time.
And it's about time for a redesign. Like, come on,
Yeah,
boys.
it's been a while.
The whole vibe of TXT is kind of like a magical coming of age story, but we're gonna save that for our lore episodes that will be coming soon. Their music sound is an alternative pop rock, pop punk, and like a bright, effervescent pop. That's a big word.
Yeah,
Effervescent.
someone like described it as that in an article once.
I mean, I don't know what it
Which
means, but I like it.
Effervescence.
Effervescent.
I don't know. In my brain, it's like kind of like magical, mystical. I know that's not what that word means, but that's
Love.
what I'm saying right
I
now.
like the vibes of the word. TXT is also just known for basically doing every concept known to man. No matter what kind of concept that you enjoy, they probably have it in one of their releases. They also just have the most beautiful storytelling choreography. And personally, I feel like they're known for being the kings of like dreamy / on drugs sounds.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I think they are the real sirens of K-pop. And this was so solidified when we went to their concert because their voices are literally just insane. Obviously, if you're a K-pop idol, you probably have a really good voice, but TXT is next level with their vocals. But before getting into the post-debut, let's talk about the boys. In the group, you have the 5 members, Choi Soobin, Choi Yeonjun, Choi Bomgyu, King Taehyun, and Kai Hyening. Or you might hear it as Hyening Kai.
Now, they're also a group that doesn't use stage names, but we have to talk about their English names.
It's hilarious.
They're iconic. A lot of people actually do call them by their English names a lot of times.
I mean, we do a lot.
Yes. Whether it's like a joke or being dead serious, like people do all the time. So obviously, Kai is Kai. And then Soobin is Steve, Yeonjun, Daniel, Bomgyu, Bin, and Taehyun, Terry.
I feel like Terry's the one that we use a lot.
A lot.
Terry. And it's like sometimes it's a joke, but it's honestly just like I associate him with the name Terry.
I know, me too.
And also before we kind of get into the individual members, just an interesting note that they don't have any set positions performance-wise. Very interesting. Maybe that's because they're a smaller group. They're also just kind of all-rounders. I don't know, but just to let you know.
So starting off with Subin, he was born December 5th, 2000. So he's currently 22. He's a Sagittarius. And as we said in our previous ATs group chat, astrology to us is like blood types to them. So we're mentioning blood types as well. And his is blood type A. And his representative emoji is a bunny.
I feel like that is so fitting for him. He is absolutely a bunny emoji. I didn't even need to look that one up. That one's a known. Yeah.
Those are honestly pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, they are.
Now, his journey getting into Big Hit and becoming an idol, he submitted a video for an audition and he actually entered the wrong number. So...
Like when he put his phone number in to like...
Yeah, when he was like submitting the application and everything. And so the company literally had to like hunt this man down for 2 months.
Wow, they really wanted him. 2 months. Wow.
And so if you're new to the group and trying to pick them out visual-wise, he is the tallest member. He just has like a really cute nose, like think bunny. Pouty lips, dimples when smiling big, and kind of has like what I usually call like an actor look. I feel like every group has a member that looks like they could be an actor, and he has that look to him.
Yep, he does.
And if you're familiar with B2B, they have the member of Minhyuk. He looks just like him.
No, they are
he looks
doppelgangers.
Like identical. Yeah. Like slightly younger, but identical. He is our leader, and his nickname is Benny. I'm very prone to loving that nickname.
Yeah, Benny's very cute. Yeah, that's true. I feel like also, like, I know there's many Subins in the K-pop world, but I feel like Subi.
Oh yeah, I use that a lot.
Yeah. So I'm like, sometimes I feel like we use the term, like the nickname Subi for specific Subins, but then also it's like interchangeable. So I don't know. We'll throw that in there.
And for his personality, he's a very respectful and caring leader and can really go from serious to easygoing very quickly. Personally, obviously, like, we're into a lot of different K-pop groups. He's one of my favorite leaders. Just like his personality in general is very fitting for that role.
And for the specific group. Like, he's just the perfect leader for TXT.
And he's very mature and like thinks a lot before speaking and choosing his words carefully, which is good quality to have within a leader. And he's very quick to fight back for his members, like especially over like bad comments. It's happened so many times with this group, but he's just really quick to stand up for himself and others. But again, like in that easygoing and gentle way. And there's just like a really sweet times where like before performances, he's over like rubbing the members' backs, like so sweet. And just as a performer, he can really adapt to honestly like any style or choreo they do. So just commending him for that.
Yeah, I feel like he's very adaptable in general. Like I'm trying to think about it, and like he fits everything. He's just an all-round, like, can do anything kind of guy.
And just some fun facts about Subin. He does have older siblings that are 6 and like 10 years apart, so kind of a bigger age gap with them. And he has a hedgehog. His name's Odie.
That's so cute.
He's one that recently opened up his own Instagram, and he has cute pictures with Odie on there, so go check that out.
It's adorable. I don't really know much about hedgehogs, so I don't know
how to take care of them.
Yeah, like are they...
I don't know what they eat. I don't know what they do. I don't know what they live in.
Cuddly? What do you do with a hedgehog?
I have no idea.
Subin, what do you and Odie do for fun? I'm just curious.
What y'all doing? Hi, editing us popping in. Since recording this, Subin has announced that Odie passed away sometime in July. He had a syndrome and couldn't move well, but he's hoping now he's no longer sick, and even said during the announcement he hopes when he passes, Odie will be there to meet him. Very sweet message to Odie, and just little thank you, Odie, for giving Subin so much love and like comforting him, and I don't know, he showed him so much love. So.
We're definitely sending comfort to Subin during this time as well, but just needed to make that note because unfortunately this news was released to the public literally a day or two after this was recorded. So.
Yeah. And he was an MC on Music Bank, and he's friends with the Boys Q, if you're familiar with that group.
Super random, but he also has a water phobia, which I relate to so much. I also have a water phobia. Won't go into details, but there's been times where they talk about going to a water park or they're like playing in the pool, and he gets so nervous and upset when they like threw him into the pool because he like can't swim very well. And so anyway, I just relate to him a lot because of that fact.
Moving on to the next member, Yeonjun. He was born September 13th, 1999, so he's currently 23. He's a Virgo, type A blood, and his representative emoji is a fox. Now, he was known as Big Hit's legendary trainee, which T because he was a former Cube trainee, and he was a BTS background dancer for Singularity. He was contacted by Big Hit on social media shortly after a woman on the subway asked him if he belonged to an agency, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, again, we've talked about how these people are scouted just like on the streets or obviously in a subway. But that just sounds crazy. Like, what a story. And after saying know, she gave him a business card with Big Hit on it. So that's kind of like how he got there.
That's insane.
And he ended up writing a rap verse and dancing to Boy in Love. He was the first member to be revealed on January 10th, 2019, which was just 3 days before Subin was announced. And we've said that there was a lot of hype and excitement around their debut. And to just prove that, his intro video for his announcement surpassed 1 million views within the first 24 hours.
And he was just picked up at the subway. Some woman said, "Hey, you look like you could be an idol, are you?" And he's like, "No." And she's like, "All right."
Okay, you're
1
about to
million
be.
views within a day. That's crazy.
And for his visuals, he does have a rounder face, very pouty lips.
Yeah, like his lips are a definite defining thing if you're trying to pick him out. Lips.
And he has good cheekbones.
He does. He has a great face in general.
Yeah. For his position within the group, he doesn't officially have one, but for the most part, he's definitely like leaning towards like rapper and like dancer. One of his main nicknames is Junie. So for his personality, he is very flirty with everyone and does not help us being delusional at all, because it does not just go between him and the members, him and friends. It's very much directed towards fans as well.
Yeah, no, he's just like, overall, his aura is very appealing and attractive in general. Like, obviously look-wise, but literally just his entire aura.
And he has a very carefree personality and like can come off as very like intense, but I feel like it's in a cool way. So it's not that intimidating. And he was saying whenever he was in training, he had a big like fake it till you make it mindset, and obviously that worked for him very well.
Yeah.
And something just really sweet, he said that he begged his mom for younger siblings and ended up with 4, like talking about the members.
Because he's an only child,
Yes.
so he ended up finding his siblings and the members.
And as a performer, he ranked first in dance, rap, and vocals when he was a trainee, kind of going back to that legendary trainee nickname. He has perfect duality as a performer and had amazing facial expressions like during our concert, and it's just very hard to look away from him. And everything just kind of seems to come naturally to him and just makes the hardest choreo so easy. And just him being on stage he looks so relaxed and at home.
Yeah, I think, like, exactly like you said, it coming naturally to him, this whole idol world just seems so natural.
And then just more fun facts about Yeonjun. His representative flower is a tulip, so I had to take note of that because that is my favorite flower, so makes sense he's my bias.
I love that. That's, that's
Overall,
everything.
that's not correlated, but I'm making it correlated. And he actually ended up creating the group's hand gesture, which is really cool. And he's definitely considered 4th gen it boy.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Well, and not only by, like, fans, but, like, the industry.
And he's definitely the one within the group that's being pushed the most and given more opportunities. Like, he's gone to New York Fashion Week, has, like, a clothing line with Privé Alliance, had an acting debut, solo magazine shoots, and he was the first one to have a personal Instagram, like Subin has one now, but he had his, like, well before anyone else
well, so
did.
Subin just barely, dropped
probably,
his personal
I guess
Instagram.
this last month. And he once had a commercial for a ramen brand, which is everything.
I love that for him. Does someone have this ramen
I don't know.
ad somewhere?
We need to look that up.
We do.
And he has a cameo in Live On episode 8 as an ex-boyfriend. That would not be an ex. How did that happen?
Yeah.
You should have hold on,
That was
girl.
wrong casting.
I didn't watch that. I watched his little clip, but I'm like, should have hold on, girl. And just overall, like, with his, like, he obviously has gone to, like, New York Fashion Week and all that. He loves fashion.
Recently, he, like, just posted an Instagram post in the biggest croc version of a yellow boot. It's insane. Stylish.
Well, I remember, like, those, I don't even know, like, when those came out. Like, the red ones were very popular, and I saw, like, a few people in them. But, yeah, he had the big yellow ones.
Well, and, like, Croc
Hilarious.
and another brand that's, like, somehow involved, like, literally used his photos for promotion, too. So, like,
so
it was, like, a
funny.
huge brand deal. He's also just, like, I feel like he is so androgynous in his fashion in general, which absolutely love that. He's always trying the most fashion-forward, like, unique fashion trends that are out there.
And when he was younger, during elementary school, he lived in America, so he speaks English fluently.
I feel like a lot of TXT actually speaks English very, very well,
Yeah.
but just a side note. Now moving on to Bamgyu, he was born March 13th, 2001, which makes him 22 years old at the time, a Pisces, and type AB blood. I don't feel like you get very many AB bloods. I wonder what that technically, like, I'm curious. Also, I'm also a Pisces. Love that. Relate. His representative emoji is a bear and or a tiger, which Bom literally means tiger, so that's very fitting. His story of getting into Big Hit is also very unique. An employee saw him on the streets of Daegu and asked him to audition in Seoul. He couldn't make it to the auditions because he had exams going on, so the employee said that he would return the following day for his audition after his exams, and he ended up passing.
That's crazy. to like, you don't even know this kid, but for whatever reason, you have like
so much blind faith that he's going to make it that you're like, don't worry, I'll come to you on your schedule time.
That's insane.
And then pass. Like, that's insane. All of their stories are so crazy. It feels like they were like specially picked.
I know.
Bumgyu ended up going back to school at Hanlim Art School and graduated alongside Hyun and Kai in practical dance. He was the fifth and last member to be revealed during their debut, January 20th of 2019. If you're looking to pick him out in the group, he has a very high nose bridge and a very V-shaped like face and jaw. I feel like he also tends to have one of his most iconic eras was his like long hair era. So I feel like you'll see a lot of pictures with him with very long hair.
Yeah, even if like obviously hair changes, but if you're looking at like older photos, he's the one with long hair.
Yeah. His position is visual and his nicknames are Bomi or Gyu. I tend to hear Gyu very often. And personality-wise, Bumgyu is definitely the mood maker of the group. He is very goofy, very fun. He definitely also has like a mature side though and can balance that mood making when he like needs to be sentimental or like more emotional. As a performer, he has a lot of confidence in his performing. He's a very expressive dancer, has very great facial expressions. And some super random fun facts, he used to stay up late writing songs for the members, which is so endearing. And he also is in a friend group called Easy with Jongin from Stray Kids, Heesung from ENHYPEN, and Jimin from Just Be. It's so cute. How does he know those people? I don't know. I feel like...
Well, I mean, his song, they're in the same label.
Oh,
but
yeah, that makes
Stray
sense.
Kids.
Yeah. He also has a family parrot named Toto. I know it's not like a personal pet, but he does like talk about this parrot a lot, and especially during their like earlier debut days, Toto made photo appearances all the time. It's like this green parrot, and he basically said that like cats and dogs really just didn't work for his family, but when they got a bird it was like the perfect fit. Funny. It's so cute. When I think of like Bumgyu too, that makes so much sense, like a bird being his pet. He can also play the guitar, and when he was younger he was a member of a rock band.
And look at him now.
I know. Well, and like it's so funny with his like we just said, his long hair era. Like that is so cute. It's so rocker Bumgyu.
Next member, Taehyun. He was born February 5th, 2002, so he's currently 21. He's an Aquarius, type A blood, and his representative emoji is a squirrel. He got a random text one day trying to recruit him, saying they heard rumors about him.
What?
I'm sorry, is this a horror movie?
I would feel like it was a scam. I'd be like, honestly, wrong number.
And his looks just captured many agencies.
Understandable.
A big hit employee waited outside his school, but didn't see him, and they asked a classmate for his contact information. A horror movie, are you kidding me?
Okay, listen, as we're going through this episode, I am convinced that Big Hit found these boys and literally was like, this is going to be who is in here. We need to find ways to rope them into a, quote, audition.
I know. Tricking boys into auditions.
For real. They were already chosen. They didn't know this, but they were already part of it.
And he also attended Hanlim Art School in Applied Music. He was the fourth member to be revealed January 17th, 2019, just 3 days before Bumgyu. And for his visuals, he has very big eyes. I feel like that's like a good key point to focus on when trying to tell them apart if you're new.
He also has a perfect nose. It's literally like exactly 60 degrees. There was a time where the members like on video literally measured it, and it's like quite literally a perfect 60-degree nose.
Hilarious.
He's also the shortest member of TXT, but he's not short. He's so tall. This guy is 5'8".
I mean, the whole group is tall.
They
overall.
are very tall.
So for him to be the shortest member is honestly like an average of like another group.
Mm-hmm. It is. Like 5'8" is literally taller than me.
Yeah,
like that's
way taller than me.
It's crazy, but he is very much the shortest of.
Well, and that's funny that you say that, because like I would in my brain think he's shorter than you.
Yep, but he's not. He's taller than me.
I'm just living.
Isn't that crazy? We have like certain. This is so sidetracked. We'll talk about this in another episode, I'm sure. But like sometimes we'll visualize, like get like a measuring tape, or we'll like use something to see the heights of members, and it's just like shocking every time that we do it.
Now he's another member that doesn't have an official position within the group. His nicknames are Tay, but you'll honestly do hear Terry a lot, especially here in the US. I feel like that's very big. I don't even know if anyone's calling him that over there. I
have
highly
no idea.
doubt it. Like, I don't
know.
But
at our concert in North Carolina, people were screaming Terry in the concert.
Like specifically Terry.
Yeah, so like that's very big here. And I honestly, like, as we're going through this episode, we'll mistakenly call him Terry instead of Taehyun, and I'm like, oh, people won't know what I'm talking about.
And honestly, I feel like when you call them by like their English names or something, like another name, it gives off a completely different like persona or vibe for them.
So true.
And like Terry, that's just like a different person than like Taehyun. Same with like Yeonjun being called Daniel. That's a different man. I love him.
Yep.
That's someone totally different.
Yes, similar vibes. If you're like thinking about Stray Kids, for example, Bang Chan and like Christopher, completely different. Like I feel like that's a good one for people to like visualize that with.
And for his personality, he's very straightforward, mature, and just passionate, but also free spirited. I love his personality.
Me too.
He's very level-headed with the idea of being an idol as well. And like Bomgyu had once called him during a live and he was like, "What is it? I'm at work." Which you wouldn't think to
like
even...
a live stream would be. But
like, he's correct. He is, like, working. And I was like, that's very interesting because it is, like, a fun, silly thing that you're doing, but it's still technically work. And I just feel like I don't even think about it like that.
No, that's a very interesting perspective. Yeah, it's true.
And it was just, like, cool to see him, like, in idol mode talking to his fans as, like, he just seems to have a very realistic idea of like an idol to fan relationship, which I think is good to have. And he's just overall funny without even trying.
He really is.
And as a performer, he has amazing vocals. We've already talked about his rasp. I feel like that's obviously come out more so within the last few album releases. But even like live there, it was just unreal.
He has some of the best like rasp vocals I've ever heard with my own ears. They're amazing.
And he's a very sharp and clean dancer. Like everything is just like perfect. Like very beautiful lines when dancing. And just some fun facts. He used to do educational videos teaching English when he was little.
That's so cute.
Like I want to know like how little, like what age was this?
Yeah, what do we mean little? Are we talking about like
little Terry
16?
Teaching English? Then during a fan sign said his favorite movie was Inception, so an intellectual king.
Inception
Love that.
is so good.
It is so good. And he has a cat named Hobak, which means pumpkin in Korean. That's really cute. It's also really funny because there's so many cats here that are named Pumpkin. Like people name their cat Pumpkin all the time.
Hobak, that's so cute.
And then when he was little, he wanted to be a magician and just has like a lot of little cool tricks, which I don't know, just really funny to me.
It just, again, it adds to his like funny without even trying. He'll just randomly pop out a magic trick when he's on a live or something, and it's hilarious. And last but not least, we have Hyun Kai, who was born August 14th of 2002. So balloons, party streamers, happy birthday,
Happy
Kai.
birthday!
So that means he is officially 21 years old as of yesterday in this recording. He is a Leo, type A blood, and his representative emoji is a penguin. He auditioned as a duo with his older sister Leia quite often and decided to do one last audition in Kpop Star, which he actually ended up not making it, but an employee from Kpop Star ended up getting a job at Big Hit and then contacted Kai from there.
So once again, very plucked specifically.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think we're connecting some dots here.
Yeah. Nobody, they did not hold any auditions for this group. They just chose them and said, "Oh, we're holding auditions." Had to fake trainees beside them.
For real. If you're trying to pick him out of the group, he definitely has a European look. His father is a mix of German, Polish, and Scottish, and then his mother is Korean. So he's got kind of smaller features, and he's also thicker.
So I feel like just his hips and thighs are a little wider or thicker than the other members. Mm-hmm. So I mean that's a random thing to point him out, but whenever they're wearing certain pants, it's very obvious.
Yeah, it's just his European coming out. His position is Maknae. He has a nickname of Hyuka, which I have not personally heard of that nickname, but I assume it's pretty popular outside of him.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we're quickly to just say Kai.
Yes, yeah, because it's very easy for us to, to say. His personality is honestly just so likable. He has a very distinct charm to him that honestly not every idol has. He's also very good at noticing the other members' moods, and he's just very full of love, and he shares that with everyone, and it's kind of the Maknae-ness and also just his personality in general. He's just so caring.
Personally for me, he's definitely in my top 10, and I honestly could have written top 5. Don't know why I did, so maybe I'm changing that right now. So officially changing it, I think I can boldly say that he's in my top 5 idols list. Because he was just genuinely so born to do this, and seeing him on stage really changed it for me. I don't know, it just felt so natural, and again, like we said, just a likable personality, just incredible. And honestly, shame on me for not being Kai biased, because that's an idol.
No, I fully 100% agree, especially after seeing him live. It was huge eye-opening. He is just so personable, and he is so good with people in general. He is an extremely underrated vocalist in my opinion, but yeah, seeing him live was that was insane. I was not expecting that from him, and he is definitely in the top idols list. I don't even know who I have in that list, but you putting him in the top 5, I fully support it. He's also referred to as the Diamond Matinee, and he's very professional in the way that he works, especially when performing. Some fun facts about him is that Hyuninkai was actually born in Hawaii, making him the first foreigner in Big Hit. He moved around a lot, honestly. We talked about this in our 4th of July episode as well, but he did officially move to South Korea at age 8. He comes from a very talented family in general. His dad is an actor and was a singer in China, and then both of his sisters are idols as well. So honestly, he was just kind of born for this.
Literally.
Which makes sense. He can also play the drums, the guitar, the piano, the flute, and he can speak multiple languages including Mandarin, Korean, Portuguese, and English. Is this man real? Like, is this a joke?
Like a true all-rounder, not only idol-wise, but just normal life-wise, apparently.
Like, what? No wonder Big Hit plucked him because, whoa.
We're going to take a small break and remind you that if you're enjoying this episode so far, make sure to follow the podcast and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss an upload in the future. And if you'd like to show some love, feel free to give us a rating as well. We'd really appreciate it.
So jumping right back in, let's talk about post-debut. Their debut album was called The Dreamcatcher Star with the title track Crown. And that debut EP ended up entering the Billboard 200 at number 140, the highest charting debut album by any male K-pop group at the time. The title track Crown got 14.5 million views, breaking the record for most viewed K-pop debut music video within 24 hours for boy groups.
So this just shows how, like, again, we've already said it, but how anticipated this debut was from them.
Yeah. Well, and they were like getting a lot of money put into this because I'm sure Big Hit was making sure this was going to be a successful debut. They also earned their first show win just 1 week after debuting, and then 1 month after their debut, they did a debut showcase in the US in New York City, Chicago, LA, Orlando, Dallas, and Atlanta. Tickets sold out in less than 24 hours. I was about to say, wish we could have seen them in Orlando, but there's no way we would have gotten tickets.
Nope. Later in the year, they released Dream Chapter Magic with title track 9 3/4 or Runaway that also topped the charts. And just a little side shout out to New Rules from that album. It's a very classic favorite of mine. And 1 year later, they released the Dream Chapter Eternity, including Maze in the Mirror, which is the first song all 5 members wrote together. And this also included Fairy of Shampoo, which is a remake of a 90s song, Shampoo Fairy. It was redone to give it a dream pop sound, which is a subgenre of like neo-psychedelic, which again, still very much fits them.
That is, neo-psychedelic is the epitome of TXT.
Yes.
That is the word.
So talking about the group's awards or recognition, in 2022, they were the first Korean act to perform at Lollapalooza. In 2023, they were the first to headline.
I feel like Lollapalooza is a really big event here in America, so that's really impressive for them to be the first Korean act and then to headline? That's amazing.
Except like festivals overall are very big here, so to have any Korean act do that is crazy.
They also won Rookie of the Year at the 34th Golden Disc Awards and the 2019 Melon Music Awards.
And they got New Artist of the Year at the 9th Gong Chart Music Awards.
They also got the Best New Male Artist at 2019 Mnet Asian Music Awards. They're also models and ambassadors for a lot of different Korean beauty and skincare brands.
I just want to give them the biggest shout out ever for getting through the pressure of debuting after BTS under the same company. They were definitely pushed harder, and I'm just really proud of them. Like, I could see that in their early days, like just the choreo they were given, very intense, like just like immediately after debut. Like,
well, I mean,
don't know.
BTS casts a big shadow. And like being under the same company, that is a lot of pressure. Like you have to really, really prove yourself, kind of a thing. So yeah, that is a lot of pressure for them, and they've honestly done so well. Also, just to shout this out, they have also had multiple shows or documentaries with Enhypen, which also falls under the same. They're not Big Hit, but they're Hybe. So anyway, they have a documentary on Disney+.
And they are a group that has a lot of deeper lore, and they have a webtoon called The Star Seekers. It started January 2022, and the overall theme is just like idols basically prevail when they have these magical powers, and they were once an ordinary group, Star One, and they end up gaining these powers, and like an enemy appears and they find themselves having to save the world. I personally haven't dove into their webtoon yet, but I really want to, because I just want to see how much of that connects there and the lore that's been going on in their music and music videos in in general, because I know a little bit about their lore.
I'm sure it plays together somehow. I feel like that whole company is very much like into tying that together. But again, we'll go into that more when we do our lore series.
So they're also kind of known for having very long song titles,
which are also iconic.
Yes, and like obviously I feel like we know them more as like their short versions, obviously. But Crown is actually One Day a Horn Grew on My Head. Runaway is Waiting for You at Platform 9 3/4, which other people do kind of like say 9 3/4 a lot for Runaway. And then Can't You See Me is The Night the World Burnt Down, We ... And then Blue Hour is At the Sky of 5:53, I Discovered You and I. And then Devil by the Window is The Devil's Voice That I Met by the Window at Midnight Was Sweet.
That is a mouthful.
Like, I know. And, like, these song titles, they're just, like, a whole story in itself.
Yeah.
It's just very interesting that they do it that way.
Yeah, I haven't really heard of any other group, like, doing that. So next, let's jump into TXT's recent releases. First off, we have to discuss their switch. So kind of like we've stated before, they have a lot of different concept styles in general, but there was a very big change in concept that was very seamless and like it didn't seem out of place or anything from their Minisode 1 Blue Hour to Minisode 2 Thursday's Child. It went from more of like a classic pop to rock.
And I feel like even though like the transition was seamless, I feel like there's definitely people who prefer either the older music or newer. I'm so torn on this because I got into them during that more like pop sound, and I think they did an amazing job with that sound. Honestly, has done that a lot better than other groups in my opinion. So I just have like a special place in my heart for that time for them.
Yeah. Well, and like even though these sounds are so drastically different, it is still so TXT. Like I don't necessarily listen to it and my first thought is, wow, that's a different concept for them. I'm just like, wow, this is such a cool side of them. Like it's, you know, it's...
And then in their last album, the name chapter Temptation, just overall really follows their lore well and brings such a beautiful aspect into their story. This is where like it's very neo-psychedelic, I think.
Yes.
Especially with Sugar Rush Ride. It just fits them very well.
We also had Devil by the Window, and I feel like when the performance video for this dropped, we had the same freak out moment that we did to when the Frost performance video dropped.
100%.
It's amazing.
And a song that I really loved from the album was Tinnitus. It's honestly like a summer anthem that was released during the winter.
It's true. And this song also went very viral on TikTok for the dance choreo for it. It's so, so good.
Well, this was one where like a fan had made up choreo for it before they even released the choreo and was like, "You want you to do this?" And he literally did it.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's so good. It's amazing.
So cute. And then Farewell Neverland, basically just about the hardship of growing up and saying goodbye to your childhood. The stage for this was beautiful. They just had this big, like the front end of a ship.
And they were dressed like in these flowy white t-shirts.
Like
and
little like sailors.
Yeah. And the sound of this song is just beautiful in general. This is probably one of our favorite songs in general. Like it's just so, so good.
And then the more recent releases are Hydrangea Love from their Japanese album Sweet. It's a very beautiful song. Their vocals really just do shine in this song. And then of course Do It Like That, their collab with the Jonas Brothers. It's the perfect summer song, and honestly it was just very much set up for success with that collaboration between the two of them.
The Jonas Brothers, that's amazing. That was I was not expecting that at all. And I know we kept joking that we wanted Jonas Brothers photo cards. So I don't know if that ever happened, but obviously, as we've mentioned in this episode, we were able to see TXT in concert. And honestly, we have a whole episode that will be coming out shortly, going way more in depth about that concert experience. But it was just such a special concert.
It was a concert that was in my hometown, so I feel like that made it more special. That was like the first K-pop concert I was able to go to at home.
It was such a fun trip in general. Also, that whole concert experience, and the reason why I feel like it's important to bring it up in this episode specifically, is to talk about Cat and Dog. Because Cat and Dog, I feel like, has been a concert revolution. I feel like it's one of the most looked forward to songs in a concert ever. I feel like it's like a, quote, silly song, but like fans can just sing to it and interact with it so much. And you could just, the energy in that concert arena was through the roof during this song. It's so good. And honestly, I recommend going and checking out this song. It's a lot of fun.
And I just need to talk about like different eras here, because the Blue Hour era, to me, I cherish this probably more than I cherish most groups' eras, even like my top groups. This was just like a big pivotal moment in my K-pop journey, and I don't know, like I just loved everything about the video. The sound was so beautiful, and I feel like whenever I was getting into K-pop, I asked my friend who was into K-pop for like recommendations. I'm like, help, I'm ready. And she sent me like NCT Super M, so I got into that because of her. And then just on my own, I'm like, okay, duh, I have to start with BTS. That's like what you do. And so I got into BTS, but I feel like the first group I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this for myself, my own like journey. I got into TXT. And so I don't know, they're just very special group, and we kind of said it earlier, a comfort group. And I just wish I could re-experience discovering them for the first time, because just especially that era meant a lot to me. And then another era that meant a lot was Chaos Chapter like Freeze. That album came out whenever I was working somewhere for the summer. It was a program that like was not the way it should have been because it was delayed because of COVID. So the program basically changed. I hated it. A lot of my coworkers and I were miserable. I will say I was housekeeping, and so I would just be in the rooms with my phone playing this album like on repeat, just like getting through my days. And I'm like listening to that album, and the sunset coming into the rooms got me through that. And my one friend at work, that was it. It was just like a big depression time. So thank you for that album.
TXT, your music made it. No, I get it. There's certain groups that like their music hit at the right time. Well, and also like kind of jumping back to the Blue Hour era, because I love that it's like so sentimentally important as well. That era in general is just so iconic for TXT. I feel like their outfits in that era went super viral. And also we got the How to Put an A special meme from that song.
I know, it's perfect.
That is one of the best TXT memes out there. I feel like we say it all the time.
So to talk on fan wars, we don't condone fan wars. We are multi-stans, and no idols want their fans fighting. So don't be the ass and passionate when standing up for your group. We're just bringing these up so that you know what to possibly expect from their history with fan wars. Now, a big one is against Stay and AT, which are the fandoms for Stray Kids and ATs, especially during award season because they're heavily put up against them. But honestly, this is just silly. Because Yeonjun, Changbin, and Wooyoung are besties, so you're like fighting against their faves.
Yeah,
and they're
like
best friends ever.
Do not feel like they're like they don't fight. So why are the fandoms fighting? But again, I feel like it is just that award season, and they're in that same group, so it's unfortunate, just like rival groups.
And then another one is sometimes MOA will fight with ARMY just because people have said that TXT is the next BTS or they're BTS successors, and ARMY's kind of like don't like that because like BTS is BTS, like you're not coming for us, you can't be BTS. But honestly, like for the most part that has been fully squashed just because they never wanted that. Like they have said in an article, like we don't want to be BTS. We are not BTS. We are TXT. We're 5 members. Like we're not the same thing.
Same
we're
company,
a completely different thing. So like don't even fight over that.
Yeah, which I feel like kind of also rolls into fan wars that may happen with Injin or ENHYPEN's fans. But I feel like again this is kind of just like award season. Like they just happen to be close in age and close to debut time. So I feel like that kind of wraps up this group chat for TXT. Hopefully it's enough information to kind of get you started in your journey to getting to know them and becoming a MOA. But before we leave, let's talk about our favorite TXT songs.
Now for me, this was really hard to choose from because like I said earlier, it's like choosing between their current era and sound and their old one. It's impossible for me. So I'm choosing 2, even though I'm supposed to choose 1. Mine are Farewell, Neverland, and We Lost the Summer. These are definitely the 2 songs that I listened to from them the most.
They're so good.
It was really hard for me to choose a song for them, honestly. Like I had
I remember you had like 5 or 6 that you were like, I can't decide.
Yes. I like made a mini playlist of like a few of their songs and like just re-listening on repeat and like going through. I'm like, okay, but is this my favorite? So I chose 2.
They're great ones to choose. My favorite song is going to be Anti-Romantic. Like I said before, this is my like pre-K-pop song. And honestly, when I watch videos from our concert that we went to from when they performed Anti-Romantic, I still sob. Like, I get so emotional over it. This song just means so much to me. I don't even know why. It just hits different.
It does.
I love it so much.
And then just overall content we would recommend for new MOA. Honestly, any music video, to be honest. Like, I know that's silly to say, but theirs are so pretty. I love the Puma one.
Puma's so good. I was just about to say the same thing. That was one of the first ones that I remember, like I said, way earlier on in this episode. Very good. And
definitely the Frost and Devil by the Window performance videos. Those were like world-shaking,
groundbreaking
thing for us. So
Amazing.
I feel like others would really love that. And honestly, this is very random, but just type in like chaotic TXT into YouTube and you will immediately like fall for them because you'll know exactly how their personalities are. I feel like that's
Yeah.
the perfect way to go.
That is very, very true. Or TikTok, if you wanted to do it that way. I'm sure it'd have the same. As always, you can find us on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at The Lunapod, and on Instagram at The Luna Podcast for up-to-date information on episode releases and behind-the-scenes fun. We post all sorts of content, so definitely make sure to follow us and check that out. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Bye!